Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host, and today I've got Stevie and Jeff with me to talk about Everton's managerial search. Stevie, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Ryan. Apart from the news with Jan's father, and of course, we've not seen any real action with this managerial search, if you can call it. God knows what's going on behind the scenes, because I don't know about you, Jeff. I think it's a complete shambles.
Yeah, I think I tweeted before. My tweet before was something along the lines of, so the owner has said the other day on a public interview, he doesn't make any of the decisions regarding appointments and stuff like that. But he's the one who's pushing the Bielsa move. Then you've got Ken Wright, who's supposed to be, he's the one who does the deals, but he doesn't make the decisions. He's pushing another manager who's diametrically opposed to the first guy, like Bielsa and Dyche couldn't be more different. And then the person who actually is the director of football, who's supposed to be the one who's making the decisions, doesn't have a say. So, yeah, it's
Well, it's typical, isn't it?
yeah, it's just another day being an Evertonian with like clown car circus, just ridiculous.
Well, the latest news is, excuse me, this cat's going to walk across this camera several times, as it always will do during this stream. Very quickly, just a shout out to David and John, who just joined the stream. Good evening. We've got Jeff, who's driving up to Scotland in a truck at the moment for work. So he's on hands-free as well. And Stevie walking back. So I do apologise that we don't have everyone in the studio tonight. As you know, Yandalf lost his father last week, so he's not going to be on the streams for a while, as far as I'm aware. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. And Dan is busy tonight. He was doing a very long space with us on Twitter yesterday, so he'll be back for the next video, I imagine. The latest news is that Marcelo Bielsa has gone down to London to have further talks with Farhad Moshiri over taking the vacant manager's role. But he's concerned about the lack of pace and quality in the Everton squad. Stevie, a manager with heart not quite in it. Do you think he could be persuaded to take the job for the wrong reasons here? If he's adamant that this squad isn't good enough but does take this job, what does that say about him? Do you think he could just be coming for the money?
There's been talk, right?
Stevie, just go on audio only, because you think.
Well, no, it sounds like he's got his head screwed on. Yeah. Sorry, it dropped the signal. It sounds to me that Bielsa, that he's got his head screwed on. In other words, he's watching the same team as the fans. It's quite evident as the pace in the squad, maybe with the exception of Gordon, that actually could play the style of football he wants to play. And the reality is, he probably wouldn't last the distance. By the time he's gone through 2 to 4 transfer windows, he would just end up like the previous 6 managers that have been sacked within the last 3 or 4 years. So the thing is about that appointment is we haven't got the skills to match the pedigree of manager or the way he wants to play. At least he has a style of play, which is more than you could say of Lampard.
He does have a clear style of play, but with Leeds United, he had players arguably that could fit in that high intensity, high tempo, speed of game. And yet he got sacked from Leeds because of shipping goals week in, week out. Now, you could say Everton have probably got better defenders on paper, but we certainly haven't got those attacking, speedy wingers like Jack Harrison, for example, and the likes of Patrick Bamford, who's a quality striker. You'd argue he had better tools at Leeds last season and ended up getting sacked. So what makes anyone think that he can come into this Everton team with 18 games left and transform them into some sort of world-beating attacking team? I'm not so sure.
You're right, Ryan. This is a damage limitation job. This season, if Everton stay up, it might even outdo last season because of we don't have Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin's missed half the season, etc., etc. So whoever comes in now needs to just get us as close away from the relegation zone as as far away from the relegation zone as they possibly can. So you're basically pointing at a relegation specialist. If you're looking more long term, then yeah. But why are we resigned to the Championship at this point when we've taken action with Lampard? Love the guy, by the way. It's a shame about what happened, but it was only going in one direction. And I think we now need somebody that can just get us out of jail. It literally is. It's definitely the worst side I've ever, I've seen watching Everton. And it's one thing, Ryan, saying, yeah, we got better defenders than Leeds. Well, I beg to differ, because those defenders have been shipping goals in the last few games.
Yeah.
So you could look at the other side of the argument and just say you're just not good enough all around, and it's actually like watching a lower second half of the Championship side play week in, week out against Premier League opposition.
Yeah.
It's only the fans really that have pulled the rabbit out of the hatch for us. So going back to the managerial job, it's very much about who can come in and basically park the bus, get the defenders right, win the set pieces, get more solid again, and find a way to break down defenders and be a little bit less predictable. Or just, we're not picking up points. So,
well, you're talking about that, Stephen, but then the other side of the coin is, as I'll come to Jeff in a moment, he mentioned earlier, you've got Bielsa on one side of it, as you're talking about, and you've got Sean Dyche on the other. Now, they're two very contrasting managers. Yeah. I watched a video on the Coach's Voice YouTube channel about Sean Dyche, where he explained how he set up against Liverpool away from home and actually won the game, breaking their 68-game unbeaten run. And I was actually fascinated by how he did it. And he explained how he compresses the pitch and shuffles all of his players over to one side to make it very difficult for Liverpool to play through you. And how he basically disrupts everything in the midfield, protects a certain quadrant of the pitch in front of his goal, basically, like a V in front of his goal, around the 18-yard box and that area in front of the 18-yard box where you can score from. And just very fascinated. And I think defensively, Sean Dyche would have a solid. I think he would stop us conceding goals. Yeah. I'm just not convinced that going forward, Sean Dyche would bring the same sort of attacking ideas as a Bielsa. And Jeff,
no, but we haven't got the players, Ryan. I'm going to have to slip out in a minute, but you're right. We haven't got the players to do what he wants. And this is no. I know everyone's got this vision about, oh yeah, we're going to the new stadium. It's going to be gorgeous under the floodlights and the River Mersey, nighttime kickoffs, derby matches, best stadium in Europe, all of that. Yeah, well, we're going to be playing that in the Championship at this current rate, unless we get someone in who's got a pragmatic style, literally plays every game like we played against Man City away, and tries to nick a few games at home and get draws away and try and get us out of this. There's still half a season to go. I've not given up on the fact that we've made the change, but I do think that the Dyche is a better appointment right now for us. It may not be the most glamorous way, but we're not ready to play expansive football. We've just got to be realistic.
Yeah. So going into this, like, again, like we saw the whatever you want to call that interview with that was on YouTube the other day with our owner, where he said, I do not make the decisions on the management. The director of football makes these decisions. I'd be willing to bet you an awful lot of money that neither of these two managers would be someone that our director of football would choose. Neither of them.
Yeah.
Right. So what you've got is an owner who says he has never interfered in the managerial appointments, clearly interfering in the managerial appointments once again. And the reason he's doing it is for the same reason he's always done it. He wants a name. He wants the ego. So he's looking at bringing in a chaotic manager who could work, and I'm not saying it won't work, but he's wanting to pay him £12 million a year, bring in this chaos, and the guy doesn't even want to. Oh my God, Oh, Marsilia. Yeah, he doesn't even want to take the job until the summer. He said he'd quite happily take the job, whether we're in the Championship or whether we're in the Premier League. He doesn't mind, but he just doesn't want to take it now because he hasn't got the players to perform what he wants, and he hasn't got time to work with them to drill them into doing what he wants to do. So it's a ridiculous, like, the owner is pushing for something that is clearly not healthy. Ken Wright is clearly looking for somebody like Moyes Mark II. And we've got a director of football who is supposed to make these decisions, who's clearly been sidelined once again. And you're just thinking, it's Groundhog Day all over again. What is the point? What is the point? So yeah, that's like, at this point, I've just hold my hands up and just say, well, we've got no choice. We're not good. We don't get a decision. So let the chaos reign and let's see what happens. But yeah, don't expect me to be optimistic about it because honestly, it's a car crash like in slow motion. Just yeah. So yeah, that's basically my opinion on the whole thing.
I think my heart is saying probably Bielsa would probably bring a lot more joy to Goodison Park in terms of his attacking football and the patterns of play, the way he opposition. But my head is saying, you know, with these players, I don't really think we've got the quick centre backs, the quick full backs, and the midfielders with the legs that he would want, and that Dyche would probably get the best out of the players we've got now. But if this was the summer and we had a budget, I would say not Dyche, go for Bielsa. So, yeah, it's a heart and head moment, but also just coming from running the channel and stuff, if someone asked me and really put a gun to my head, I'd probably say you'd have to go with Sean Dyche. For short term would be my choice because I think he'd get the best out of these players and stop the rot. But again, yeah, if it was a summer and we had a transfer window and money to spend and a plan to get Everton back as we know it, I think Bielsa. But ultimately, I don't think either of them are really going to play the Everton way. The Everton way, tough tackling in the midfield, aggressive, pressing from the front, very dynamic in possession, get the ball into the box sooner, earlier, less playing through the lines, less playing through the back, get the ball forward and get the crowd on side. I'm not quite sure either of them are quite like that, although Bielsa is very much back to front very quickly and very good with transition. I think we'll be exposed defensively. I think he'll leave our centre-backs and our full-backs 1v1 with opposition players too often. So I think that could be flawed with the players we've got. And also, I don't know whether he's that way inclined in the midfield area. But Dyche, on the other hand, although I think he would bring that tenacity into the midfield and I think he would allow us to defend from the front, from midfield, from the back in any way we needed. I don't know whether his teams have had that style of play, but you could argue the 4-4-2, the crossing, the getting the ball in the box, the disruption. Dyche is possibly even more of an Everton manager than Bielsa. I think there's an argument for either, but neither of them really tick every single box. That's probably what I'm trying to say. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, no. And that's the thing is like the question you've got to ask yourself, right? Is what is Everton Football Club? What is our identity? Like what are we trying to achieve with this managerial appointment? And that's what I say is how can you have two completely different characters, two different like styles of play, two different approaches to football that are so opposite, and say that like trust me, we've got a plan and everyone knows what they're doing, and like, are you kidding? Like, honest to God, like, I don't know what our board are smoking, but like, like, where's the idea at all? Like, what is the objective behind this appointment? Like, make it make sense to me. Like, make it make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. I can't actually. I can't square the circle. Is that the right expression? I think that's the expression. I don't know what this club is trying to achieve. Are we trying to build for the future? Are we trying to survive? Are we trying to be pragmatic? Are we trying to like play like, you know, like Newcastle back in the Keegan days? Like, we'll score more than you. What's the approach?
Yeah, we are.
That's
Everyone in the comments, I will come to you in a minute. Thank you so much. Everyone watching knows what Everton is. I've literally just described it. Fast football, pressing, get the ball in the box, tough tackling, all that sort of stuff. The manager, the director of football, if he was at the end of the season, I would be saying, look, you need to bring in a manager who can implement this style and bring in players to fit that style. That's what the fans want to see. That's what the fans expect. And that's actually an effective way of getting results. You know, but needs must. It's the middle of the season, and I think it's going to be like a constant tug of a rope where in one direction you're getting pulled into pragmatism and, you know, probably one way, and then the other way you're getting pulled. It is frustrating, Jeff, because you don't feel like either of any option that we've been presented with will bring the Everton way back. I think it's just the two managers that are available. Also, guys, I want to mention, this is my frustration. The two managers that are getting linked with this job are two managers that got sacked from our relegation rivals last season. Dyche at Burnley, Bielsa at Leeds. Why are we only capable of looking at teams, managers of, you know, from teams that got relegated or nearly got relegated, or players from relegated teams or nearly got relegated? For me, it's a farce. Jeff,
and you're offering 12. You're offering 12. The owner's offering 12 million to a guy, like, who basically had the worst defence. Like, how many goals did Leeds concede last year? I mean, they were getting beat. They weren't just losing games, like close games. Like, we've been losing games sort of 1-2. But he was losing games 6-7-0 on a regular basis. Like, their defence was absolutely shocking because they played in such a cavalier fashion. And it just doesn't make any sense to me.
They had finishers as well. I don't know whether we've got that. But Lampard was very conservative. He used to just have Calvert-Lewin stood up on his own in the middle, free in midfield that didn't get forward or contribute anything creatively.
And that's the other thing as well, is we've got 4 days of the window left. Who are we buying? Like, what player? Like, if you're looking to, like, seal a transfer to Everton, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be playing for Bielsa. Oh, no, I'm going to be playing for Dyche. Like, the personality types of the people who would want to come and join that kind of thing are completely different. They're completely different styles of players. That, you know, so it's like, who are we going to buy? Like, we're literally trying to do a handbrake turn on a cruise ship with these two decisions. It's just, our owner's a lunatic. He's just a lunatic. He is.
Jeff,
all he cares about is the name. That's it.
He wants the brand.
Go on, sorry.
I've tried to be pragmatic and give you my thoughts on the managers and what style they'll bring. I hope that's come across quite well. And I've also tried to explain what I expect from an Everton fan and why it might not be difficult. I hope that the audience can appreciate that. I do want to come to the comments. Jeff, if it's okay with you, I'd like to just share a moment to speak to the guys about the fundraiser that we're doing.
Yeah, no problems, mate. No problems.
So, as you know, we've got Yandalf on the channel. You'll know him as the Everton Viking with his wonderful poetry you'll have seen on social media. And Yandalf, he hasn't been on the channel for a little while because his girlfriend's mum was in hospital. So we haven't seen him really on the channel very active at all since before Christmas, probably even earlier. And I know how popular Yandalf is. And he's much loved, and, you know, he's a fantastic blue. Unfortunately, his dad just been disconnected. I'm back. I'm just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb just to make sure no one can call me. Right. Okay. That's it. Yandalf's father passed away on Saturday last week. Daniel, you'll have seen him on the channel also. Toffee Dan, amazing guy, amazing blue. Sat with Yandalf in the lower Bullens for 17 years as a season ticket holder, and also had a season ticket around the ground before that for many years. And Daniel was just an incredible guy because he used to have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything to do with Everton, any statistic, results, teams, players. He just knew everything about Everton. He's a brilliant guy. Unfortunately, he's passed away, had a heart attack. Yandalf, who's not been working for 2 years for a few reasons, but he's been going through therapy for PTSD. So he's not able to work, and the funeral costs are almost £5,000. And, you know, when you're not working and you haven't got that kind of money, it's very, very difficult, you can imagine. So we've set up a fundraiser, Jeff and I, and a few others from the channel. We've set a target of £5,000 that we want to raise to help cover Daniel's funeral costs for Yandalf. And we're at 3,600 already in 24 hours. We really want to try and get this over sort of the 4K mark tonight. You guys, I know you guys love the channel. We've never asked for donations. We've never had anything. This is in no way for profit, this channel. In fact, we lose money every month this channel loses money. We do this for fun. But I'd like to ask each and every one of you watching this, whether you're watching this live or watching this back, if you can spare anything, whether that's a £5, £50, £20, whatever you've got or more, please can you donate to the fundraiser to help raise some money to cover the costs for Daniel's funeral, or everything will go to Jan. Everything will go to Jan. You know him, he's a poet, amazing. And Jeff, it's really sad, isn't it? Because when we had Daniel on the channel, you felt like you were getting statistics and information that none of us could provide. He brought another edge to the channel. He's a massive loss from a personal perspective on here as well, isn't he?
Yeah, because for me, it was a little bit like me, to be honest. He was a bit gruff and a bit unpolished, if you want to call it that. So he wasn't really a sort of massively outgoing person and sort of garrulous, sort of like a Dan type character. He was a little bit more sort of gruff and a bit low key, but he's really, really smart and had a really, really dry sense of humor, and just the knowledge base of what he knew, because he'd been watching Everton for such a long time, that he literally, you could ask him a question about football from the 50s, from the 30s, from the 90s, and he would know who played who and when and who played and who we signed and where we signed them from and all that kind of stuff. He was just such a smart man, and what's important as well, a really great human being and a great father. That's the thing that carries me, is that my relationship with my father wasn't particularly great.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the way that they were, Yandalf and Danny were just so close, and that relationship is just, you couldn't get a closer son and father. That, you know,
and polar opposites in many ways as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. So inward, quiet character, Danny, and then Yandalf, obviously the Viking poet, quite loud and boisterous and whatever. But yeah, it took a while for you to get to know Danny. I sort of get him to open up a bit, but once you did, he's such a funny man and so smart and really kind as well.
You were on the spaces with him doing the quizzes, and I want to point that out, guys. You know, this guy Daniel, you'll have seen him on the channel. We're really devastated to have lost him, and obviously as Yandalf's father, you know, Yandalf's a bit lost at the moment. He doesn't have the money to cover the funeral costs. He's only got his mum. He's an only child, and you know, if there is something you could do to help, this link here, type it into your search bar and go to GoFundMe. GoFund.me/D6FD. That's Delta 6 Freddy Delta 307E. The link's also on the description of YouTube here and on Facebook. Just copy and paste it. Please help us get as close as we can. And we'll mention it again before we go. But Jeff, the audience are demanding we talk about Everton again now.
Okay.
And rightly so. Bielsa's down in London having further talks. Do you think that's probably the third interview he's had now?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he is obviously not convinced about taking the job now, and he's having to be persuaded. And some people might think that it's about money. It isn't about money. And some people might think, well, if he's not that keen, F him. But that's not that. It's just not the way he works. He's just a very, very finicky person. And if things aren't suitable for him, he's not interested. But like I said, it's not a case of he's a big time Charlie or anything like that, because he's already said, if you offered me the job in the summer, even if you were in the Championship, I would take it. I would love the opportunity to manage Everton. He hates Liverpool Football Club, so that's a big tick in the box as far as I'm concerned. He said he'd never have anything to do with Liverpool. So like, I don't object to him at all as the manager. I just don't know whether he's the right person now for the job, because in the situation we're in with the players we've got. And I think that's his doubt. It's not about the money. That's his concern, is like, will he get a chance to do the job that he wants to do? And so I understand why he's hesitant about it. It's not a case of he's not sure about being the Everton manager. It's just a case of circumstances, players, and money.
He's probably coming in, with his hands behind his back, knowing the squad's weak, knowing he's got no money to put it right, and knowing that it's going to be very difficult. So you can't blame Bielsa really at this stage for saying, well, look, I'd love to manage Everton, but bloody hell, look at the players you've got, and you've got no money.
Yeah.
You're giving me a very difficult job. We've going to go to some comments now and try and bring some of the in. We've got the Blues. He's saying Bielsa is a lovely man. That's why he was loved promotion. Well, Jeff, does that really matter whether he's a nice guy? I think we've had nice guys, we've had horrible guys, we've had everyone in between. We want a winning guy. This is nice to have, but we want a winning guy. FGA Football saying he's got lovely knees, and Dyche has got a lovely head. Just look, some of these comments are hilarious. Leeds fan Jeremy, good evening, Jeremy, saying, I'm a Leeds fan. I'm just watching and listening on your thoughts of your next manager. Bielsa does speak fluent English. Thank you for that. He doesn't feel comfortable in front of the media and TV cameras speaking English. Fair enough. Probably doesn't want to get misinterpreted.
Yeah, that's what I told you the other day, isn't it?
Yeah, is that your burner account, Jeff? Michael's asking about what's going on with David Ancelotti. That's just rumours, isn't it? I don't believe that for 1 minute. He hasn't even got his licence.
Yeah, that's just a rumour, I think. No, he has got his licence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has got his licence.
David Ancelotti coming back doing his first ever job without his dad.
No, but like I think he does want to go into management, and he does have an affection for Everton, and so yeah, it's one of those where I can see the connection, but yeah, not in the current circumstances we're in, I don't think.
Yeah, just looking through the comments. Sean Dyche would be ideal. That's from Steve Chapman. Thank you, Steve. Nick saying that Leeds should never have sacked Bielsa. They're not really a fan of the American guy they've got at the moment.
No, absolutely no.
Hopefully they persist with him. I don't love him. Jeremy goes on to say, I don't love him. He's loved for getting us back into the Premier League after 16 seasons.
Yes. Yeah. But also he's loved because he took the city to heart in a way that, like, a lot of people don't. He was very connected to the people of Leeds, did an awful lot in the community, charity-wise and stuff like that, to help people through all the pandemic and stuff like that. He really threw himself into the club, heart, soul, and threw himself into the city, So, he's not just someone who's going to come in and take a wedge, live in a suburb, and he's someone who, if he wants to take the job, he's all in every single aspect of his life, you know. So that's why you can. He's the kind of person that if he was the manager of Everton, like, you would love him as a character, as a person, because he's just box office and.
In what way? I mean, I've got to be honest. I don't know an awful lot about Bielsa. You know, I've just always thought he was a bit odd.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's what I say. He's a character. Like I said, you know, you've got all the Spygate stories. Like, you know, he would literally have people in the bushes watching other teams train.
So he looks for any competitive edge, any tactical edge.
Oh yeah, yeah. When he first actually was touted for the Leeds job, he made them all fly down to Argentina, like all the board of Leeds, right? And then when they got there, he had literally the plans of the stadium, he had the plans of the training ground, he had the list of every player. He had watched every single Leeds game of the whole season. His coaches had watched all of the opposition games, the games that weren't involving Leeds, and he had all of this information ready to go, so that when they came down, he was just like, this is how you'd play against this team. This is how you play against this team. This is the tactics I'd use against these. We need to bring this player in. Get rid. So it doesn't go into it half-arsed. He literally to the tiniest detail.
Yeah. So when he's analysing the game, he goes, he'll present, you know, Everton versus Wolves, for example, and say, well, you should have done this, and this is how you get them behind, and this is Onana here, and he's got the opportunity to play it over the top and behind, and instead he plays it back and side, and these sorts of things are how I change it. Yeah, I mean, we can see that as fans, but you know, he's going into a complete other level with his tactical genius brain, and do you think Mashiri's falling for that, and that's why he's falling in love with him? He wants him. Yes. He wants his baby.
Yes, and that's exactly the point of why he's pushing for him, is because
whereas Lampard did nothing.
Because of his legend, because of his status, because of who he is, and all that kind of stuff. If you actually just look at it,
Jeff?
He's won 0 trophies.
Bielsa
has won 0 trophies. He got promoted, but he's never won anything for anyone ever. And he took a job once, I think it was Atalanta, and he walked out after 2 days. Because they didn't give him the stuff that he wanted, and they went to sue him, but then they ended up just sort of not suing him because it was just too much fucking trouble. So yeah,
too much of a faff.
It's a gamble anyway you look at it. You can't say it's not, but it would be entertaining and it would be fun. That's the thing is it's not, it won't be boring. If he comes in, it will not be boring. And if we get relegated, he's the kind of person who can rebuild a team and get us back up again. I do see that.
But is he very rigid? Because we don't want open through midfield. We want compact without the ball. We just want open without the ball.
Yeah, that's not him.
Basically, what Lampard said he was going to give us was midfielders running and beyond, good from set pieces, pressing, 3 in midfield, solid defence, stop the danger zones, all that kind of stuff. We see nothing of it. I don't want a manager that's too extreme. I appreciate the attacking football, but it's going to be Martinez all over again, isn't it?
It has the potential to be a disaster, yeah.
Yeah.
But it could, like I said, it could work amazingly well. You know, it's one of those where, you know, you can't sit here. There's nobody that we've got on the list who you can say, oh, he will definitely keep us up. There's nobody. There isn't. You can't say that.
I actually genuinely think that Sean Dyche would keep us up if he could just bring in 1 or 2 players in a couple of wingers who could cross the ball to Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ifs. Yeah, there's a lot of ifs to that box, though. That's the thing is.
No one's keeping us up as it stands. We haven't got players.
Yeah. So it's one of those where, like, Dice could come in, but if he doesn't get, like, the required players, he ain't keeping us up. Like, Bielsa could come in if he doesn't get the players. So you kind of have to look at disappointment as if we stay up and if we go down, like, what would be the plan from there? Because there's no guarantee we're staying up. So we have to think of, like, the longer term. Otherwise, we're literally, both of these managers are going to be looking at 7, 8, 10, 12 million or whatever it is.
A lot of money. Could you not get Tuchel with that or Pochettino? That's top end money, isn't it?
If you could attract them to the club.
Yeah. Here, how 7 million do you want it? I mean, there's not a lot of clubs that can do that. Jeff, we've got over 200 people watching. I'd like to ask everyone, hit the like button. It takes 1 second. Literally hit that like button for me, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching. And of course, subscribe if you're new here to the channel. We're closing in on 1,700 subscribers, on our way up to 2,000 this season. Big shout out to Amanda Stevens, one of our regulars who's been watching us for a long time. She's donated Hi, Amanda. She's donated to the fundraiser. The link is scrolling across the bottom. The money goes to Yandalf, who you'll remember from the channel, who lost his father on Saturday. So we're fundraising for his funeral. We're targeted £5,000. We're around 3,700 now. Come on, guys, if you're watching this and you love Follow Everton and you know Yandalf, you'll have seen his dad as well on here. Let's get some donations in and help him because he really needs our help. And Amanda says the other choice for her could be David Moyes. Jeff, I've got to be honest with you, at this point, having sat through Everton over the past 7, 8 years and felt miserable under nearly every single manager, I probably would take Moyes if he was offered to me right now. I've got to be honest, over the other two.
Yes, I understand. I can understand that. I really can. Not for me, but, like, I could understand why, and I wouldn't object to it, like, massively or anything like that. But what really annoys me, and again, it's the same thing that I'll say over and over again, is who's spreading the net? Like, why is it like the field? Like last time, it was like a lunatic from like from the Turkish league who gets sacked after 6 months at every job he's had, or someone who got sacked by Chelsea because he couldn't organise a defence to save his life, and we ended up, like, as fans, falling down on the side of Lampard, and I wanted someone like a Gallardo or like a Tuchel or like I was talking on the space last night, someone like Tedesco. The guy who's currently the manager of West Brom. There's so many options out there, and we haven't even bothered talking to them, and that's it's so frustrating.
You feel like the director of football would want the names that you've talked about, or at least approach them. But Mashiri, he wants to protect his investment, and he's very easily swayed. We've got a lot of comments, Jeff, because we've got a lot of people watching, so I'm going to whiz through some of them here, just to respect the fact that they are contributing, and that's why we're here doing this stream tonight. This is a casual chat. We'll be here for another 15-20 minutes. I want to go through as many as possible. I hope that's okay, Jeff. Nick is saying Bielsa is a tactician. Trevor's saying that Bielsa will be exciting to watch, so he's happy. Mike is saying Bielsa would compost the squad and the board while he was taking us down, but we'd be stronger on our return. That's an interesting take. Live of it saying Bielsa plays better football, but Dyche is what we need. I think realistically, I think we both understand that. But it's just one of those things. We've got no say on this. Bielsa's never won a carrot, according to Jay. He's a journeyman. He'll never last more than a year. Why is he perceived to be a very good coach? Do you want to come in on that one?
Yeah, I think that, right. So the one thing that I would say in favour of Bielsa is Everton have had no structure, no style, no identity for a long time now, and what Bielsa will do, and what he did with Leeds, and what he's done at other places, is he builds a style and an identity. And maybe he can't take that on to the next level, but if he puts all the foundations in place, then we could get another guy who could come in and sort of take over and sort of continue what he starts, if you know what I mean. And so that's a possibility. You know, it's fast-paced, attacking football, you know, high-intensity play and all that kind of stuff. If he brings those foundations in, we've been watching slugs pass side to side for longer than I care to remember, you know,
Yeah.
and like we're the slowest team in the league, we're the least aggressive. Like we don't even get bookings that much, to be honest, unless you're talking about.
Have we lost Jeff? Of course, we've lost Jeff. But I'm going to continue without Jeff until we can get him back in. He's making me laugh there. Anything but side-to-side football. That's what I want to see. Bob is saying, where's the fundraiser link for Jan? It's scrolling across the bottom, gofund.me/D6FD307E. Please just type it into your address bar. It's also in the description on YouTube and on Facebook. The link, you should just be able to see it within this stream. Click on the summary, copy and paste, open a new tab, make a donation, please. Support. If you like the channel, you'll like Yandalf. You want to help a fellow Evertonian. His dad was a massive blue. Yandalf's a massive blue. He's part of the channel. He'll be back. Please make a donation. Let's try and get it up to 4,000 tonight. I know there's 176 people watching now. If you haven't already donated, please just do it. If you can afford to do it. If you can't, that's absolutely fine. You can share the link on your Twitter, that sort of thing. Anything you can do to help is much appreciated. Mark Davis is asking about Nuno Espirito Santo. Pretty sure that we're not going to go for Santo. I think he's got a 7 million release clause, although there was talk yesterday from a fairly decent source that he has had an interview preliminarily. Eugene is saying, should we do a poll on the chat? Bielsa or Dyche? I think at the moment it's edging towards Dyche on social media, but from what I'm hearing on here, I think Bielsa seems more popular. I think it is a bit 50-50, Jeff.
Yeah, it's totally 50-50.
Very split.
But this goes to show, and like I said this at the start in my little rant, was nobody knows. Like some of us want like a more expansive style of football. Some of us want pragmatism. Some of us think safety. Some of us think bring in the crazy. And I think the owners have got as little clue as us. I don't think they know what they want. So it's really hard to like make an assessment of any kind of sense of this. So yeah, Bielsa would be fun. He's a character. He'd be entertaining. Dyche would be Moyes Mark II, possibly.
Yeah.
I just want it done now. I just want it done so that we can get some bloody players in and get some coaching into these people, because you know we've got days. We've literally got 4 days or 5 days now?
I can't believe we've not signed anyone. It's ridiculous. I do believe we've got a very special guest, the man himself, the idiot from the Midlands, he's dropping off. He's setting up his camera and he's backed out. I'm very sorry to say. We hope to get him in a minute, but we may have Dan, the man, coming in, Mr. Positive, who actually very recently you could say he's Mr. Negative. He's trying to be Mr. Positive. I'm going to go through some more comments, Jeff. There's loads of people watching. We're not going to be here an awful lot longer, but I do want to get through the comments tonight because I want to know what you've got to say. We've talked. You know, what was it? Cow's thingy off a donkey or something?
I think the other 2 things, like before we do the comments, the other 2 things to say.
Yeah.
Gordon wants out. Good. Bye. Can't be asked with him. He doesn't want to. If he's not ready for the fight, F him. And then the other news for today was Onana isn't interested in a move and he wants to stay and be part of helping us, which just goes to show, that a guy we just signed 5 months ago has got more character than a guy who's supposed to be from the city and is supposed to be one of us.
Well, Onana, coming in on those two things, Jeff, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Onana, he's not good enough for Chelsea yet. Probably will spend his life on the bench. He's a first choice player at Everton. Anthony Gordon, I met him at the Brentford game. He signed my shirt. He seems like a normal scouser, but you can obviously, at that age, you can be very impressionable, have a lot of things in your ear. And I believe that he wanted over £100,000 a week at Everton. He was promised a new contract. The new contract hasn't been the level he wants. We can't commit to these contracts for Iwobi Gordon and Pickford because of the fear of relegation, even though a decent negotiator would have a relegation clause in the contracts, or at least an exit fee, if they want to move on and another club wants to buy them. To protect both player, buying club and selling club. But look, that's not happened. He feels aggrieved. He feels like his ambitions are best served at Newcastle, and so be it. I think in 2 years' time, Everton will be over their financial difficulties in a new stadium and will be flying. I just think this is a very painful period that we somehow have to get through in one piece, because without that, the following bit won't come true. So get your thoughts in on Gordon as well. Penelope's talking about the stadium and the water we've just touched upon. Nick says he wants spirit, fight, grit, consistency, momentum, passion, and belief. Frank puts us in the bottom three. That's from Trevor. Kevin saying good evening. Big Mally, I think that also might be a Leeds fan. He's saying your board will prefer Bielsa because he likes to work with a small squad, so no need to spend. But he almost took Leeds down, so I don't see how he can save the season. I agree, and I think Leeds had players that had been under him for a while and were used to his style of play. So if they can't do it, then what makes us think that these crabs can do it? Trevor's saying no, he doesn't want Moyes. Wayne is saying that he won 5 trophies. Can someone else confirm that as well? John is saying, what about the Celtic manager? I think we've both said that could be a good option for us. Trevor's not forgiven Moyes for trying to take Baines away. Nikki H, good evening, Nikki. She's saying Dyche for me, please. So split, isn't it? Ryan is saying the Celtic manager is going nowhere. Mark is saying that Bielsa wants 10 million for himself, and then we have to pay his staff. I mean, that's an extortionate amount of money. I'd be happy to do a survival bonus, but again, how many times are we going to be doing survival bonuses? It's just getting a bit pathetic, really. So many comments. Thank you so much this evening. Wow, a lot of comments. Wayne is saying that Bielsa's football is brilliant. He says Bielsa ball rocks. Kevin's saying we have no choice. Bielsa looks like he's coming. It will be fireworks with Bielsa. That's what John says. Amanda doesn't want a Hollywood name. The Blues is saying that he doesn't think Bielsa will last long if he's in charge. Jeremy is saying you'll get a lot of subscribers on the channel if he takes over. A lot of Leeds fans still adore him. Okay, do we have to rename the channel then? Follow Leeds and Everton, or follow Everton for Leeds fans, or follow Everton and friends. Sean wants Tim Cahill to be a manager. He said he'd back him.
He's not interested.
The Blues, he's saying our players aren't fast enough. Mina, DCL, they'll die in training. What about Godfrey? What about Holgate? What about Patterson? Vinagre slow. Not Vinagre, sorry. Michaelenko slow. There's a few of them that could do it.
There's a few that could be all right. You've got Patterson, you've got Godfrey, you've got obviously. I
mean, they're not very good.
Garner's due back, so I'm quite positive about him. But yeah, we did, like I say, we need to get this sorted today or tomorrow, because that leaves us literally like the weekend to find like 3-4 quality additions who can just come straight in, and that's going to be difficult. obviously,
on FIFA.
I don't know whether Gordon's going to leave or not. But he's refusing to train now, and that's like if you're looking to get a move, refusing to train isn't exactly making you an appealing prospect for potential, people who want to buy him. It's like I don't see that as a sensible move from him. Like if you want the move, that's fair enough. But you come into training and you keep your head down and you do your job, because that's professionalism. But obviously, he's just seen his ass now and he doesn't want to know. So,
Jeff,
it's a bit crazy.
Jeff, I've got good news. Your best friend's about to be joining in. And just very quickly, John Riley saying, who would these American investors want? I don't know. I think they just want a manager who can keep us in the league. I think they'll probably have their own opinions. It depends how much of a stake they buy in the club, but we'll come to that.
Yeah, I understand a little bit. I've got a little bit of info on that.
Go on.
Right. So basically, it's a group of billionaire investors. They've got interest in other sporting kind of franchises. They're a large investor in McLaren Autosport. They own a large stake in American X Games. They've got an interest in several different football clubs. And so basically they're coming in. I think you're looking about a 25% stake in the club. But the one thing that they will insist on, and I think this is a positive from this, is they will want one of them to be on the board, and so there might be someone coming in who's an actual professional, and that would be a great
No, we wouldn't have that.
I know. And then the other thing is, there's not one deal on the table, there's two. The one deal with the American investors is for a stake in the club, which will help fund the stadium. And then the second deal that's on the cards is a stadium sponsorship deal. So they wouldn't have a stake in the running of the club. They would just be the stadium sponsor. And so, so there's potentially two deals on the go, which if we got those two done, that would actually take the peril of relegation away, because the stadium would be paid and investment would come in, so the finances would be sorted, which would then mean, like, obviously we'd have to drop some people off the wage bill and whatever and do a bit of a rebuild, but we wouldn't be in the dire financial crisis that everyone fears. So,
well, I don't know, Jeff. I appreciate that you've come out with that very knowledgeable information, and I'm sure there'll be people in the comments who want to go into that. But for now, I need to bring in.
I've been speaking to a few people about it today, so I do I've got.
There was some pictures, wasn't there, of them in the box and stuff, the director's box. So if anyone wants to find out more and post any questions to our executive head of business operations, Jeff, I'm now going to bring you to the chief of clown and comedy. I have the man from the Midlands living up in the gods. He's a Evertonian. I think he's the biggest Evertonian in the planet. Do you not think, Jeff? He's probably the biggest Evertonian in the world. Here he is. It's Dan.
BIELSA. How are we doing? BIELSA.
I think me and Jeff are a little bit miserable, but we're trying to just do the job that we get paid to do on this channel.
That was a big build-up that you gave me there. Biggest Evertonian on the planet.
When did we start getting paid? I've not heard this memo.
Getting paid. Well, I'm making your job easier, Jeff, on the trucks.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah.
Giving you something to do. Otherwise, you'd be having talks, but I'm talking about a load of crap.
To be honest, mate, I've got from south of Preston to. I'm not far off Carlisle now, so yeah, you've got me through half my trip up to Scotland. So nice one.
Very good.
I've just got news here now.
Oh,
BIELSA is unpacking his suitcases, and he has got his contract in his suitcases, and he's pinning it on the wall, framing it. Everton contract. A lot of suitcases, though. A lot of suitcases just to come for a manager audition. Does that mean he's staying?
That's all his tactics boards and his all his secret files on all the players and all the other teams in the league.
A couple of Mankinas in there as well.
We've got a lot of Leeds fans in the comments tonight. I appreciate that and your support, of course. You're welcome to hit the subscribe button. You don't have to. I'm not expecting you to have notifications on, but subscribe. You can do it. You know, we're all friends now. And Dan, would you like to tell us everyone about the fundraiser, please?
That's what you. Well, you put me on the spot there.
I've mentioned it twice already, so I need.
I was going to say, at least you mentioned it.
Tell these people to do it. The links in the scrolling across the screen and in the description. But tell us why. What's going on? Right.
So most people that follow this channel and people on our Twitter accounts would have already have seen. But we used to have Jan's dad on the channel. Dan, same name as me, but we call him Daniel and me Dan. And he's been on the channel with my daughter, and he's really nicest guy you'll ever meet. And out of the blue, we lost him. He had a heart attack, and it's just out of the blue. And Yandolf, it's broke his heart, hasn't it? And Yandolf he hasn't got the financial situation anyway for the funeral. And we said, well, Ryan and me said to Yandolf and the people in the group, how much does the funeral cost? And the rough figure is about £5,000. We all know funerals aren't cheap. And if you're not expecting it and you're not working, that's a big amount to pay. And it could put Jan into a bit of debt, to be fair, because sometimes if you can't afford it, you have to pay it monthly after. And we just said we'd come together and try and get his funeral paid for and do a GoFundMe. So we're doing a GoFundMe. And Ryan, I presume you've got the link.
Yeah, it's in the description, guys, of the video, whether you watch it on Facebook or YouTube. It's in the description. GoFund.me/D6FD307E. Please donate, whether that's a £5, a £10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 500 quid, whatever you've got, whatever you can spare. Please, let's help Yandalf, because I think he deserves it with all the poems and stuff he's done. It's about time he had a bit of help and we gave something back to help him in his hour of need. So
we've had a fantastic response on it. I mean, we did it yesterday, and even like ex-football legend's son come on, didn't he? And he chucked £100 on why he was on one of the spaces.
Yeah, Andrew Kanchelskis Jr. He was on the space. And he donated as well. So
his son chucked in, and it's amazing what people have done. 3,600 yesterday. So we've got about 1,400 left, and it can go flat, but we just want to keep pushing it now, because now we've got this far, 3,600. We want to hit the 5K target, and then it just means Jan don't have to worry about the funeral costs, and he can just grieve about his dad without stressing, and that's our plan. That's our aim. So
have we got an Ian Wood watching? That's just come through in the last couple of minutes. £40. Thank you so much, Ian. And
thank you, Ian.
As well. That's come through. That's private. The name's not been disclosed.
Thank you so much as well to other person. Even if you're private, we would shout your name out, but you know what you've done, and thank you so much, because it's a really good deed to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, then any thoughts today on from your perspective? Obviously, we were looking at comments and stuff. If anything's relevant, feel free to click on it, bring it in. How are you feeling today, Dan? Do you feel slightly less depressed than yesterday, or?
Well, you can't give us all that stuff that happened the other day in one day and then it go this quiet. It feels like something's going on. I don't know. We're going to get an announcement tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow, or then it says that it's still on track for us to get the new manager by this weekend. So it's either tomorrow or going to be the weekend. But there's a new one in the hat, isn't there, on Carlo Ancelotti's son. He's entered the list today. A few people like him as well.
I think that was just someone mentioning it as a rumour, and now it's just gone out of hand. Because I saw yesterday people saying, "Oh, I wish David Ancelotti." Someone replied going, "Yeah, but he's not even got his license, or he's got no experience." Then all of a sudden, 24 hours later, they're talking about Ancelotti Jr. as a potential option. Well, I don't see him as an option, really.
We're definitely not getting Big Dunk. That's one thing for sure, because he's gone to Forest Green today, and I wished him well and said, "Good luck, Duncan Ferguson." And he could go and earn his trade now and become a good manager. And I'm happy for him. He needed to do that, and he's out the hat now. But he'll go and he'll get some experience, what he needs, and good on Duncan Ferguson.
I've got some more comments coming in now. I've got Wayne Hindle. He's saying if you get Bielsa, he's nailed on. He's already been on the phone to Pep to get Calvin Phillips on loan for the rest of the season. That would be a very good signing, but very unlikely, I think.
Yeah.
Who do I want? Do you know what? I've just read that now in the comment, Amanda. I'd love to get Bielsa. I really would. I was just thinking now before I come on this, like, I so wish we would have got Bielsa pre-season, because the reason when people say, "Oh, Bielsa, he'll give the players one hand in him," I like that, because I think the players need a kick up the backside. And people say Bielsa, "Oh, he'll tell the board what's what, and he'll kick the board's arse as well, and he'll say to them, I want this, I want that, or I'm leaving," and I like that as well. So Bielsa would have been absolutely amazing for the future and to give us that good football style, but it's a risky one. It is a risky one because he didn't do that well with Leeds towards the end of the season with the relegation battle. But I do like Bielsa. He reminds me of Carlo a little bit on the sideline with his coffee and crouching. He's got Carlo vibes a little bit. But
I just want whoever we bring in, stick with them, whether we stay up or not. Just stick with them, because like, we just can't keep changing philosophy and style of manager every 12 months, or because it's every 12 months now. It used to be 18 months, like now it's 12 months, and it's like, just settle on a style, pick a manager, whoever it is, stick with them, back them, and like, let's build something like longer than a 6-month fucking plan. Like, let's just stick to something. That's all I want. Is if it's Bielsa, if it's Dice, if it's someone else, just like develop a style of play and a philosophy of how like you're training and all that kind of stuff. And just let's build this club back up to mean something. That's what I want. I want this club to mean something again.
Yeah,
it's going to be. I was just going to. It's going to be interesting to see whoever we get. I just want to get someone quick, but little shout out for Anthony Gordon, you little brat. You little brat, Anthony Gordon.
Whether we should have some Mascamam in the Gordon deal.
What a little spoiled brat he is. What a little spoiled brat he is to not turn up to training like that. Be professional. Whether you want to leave or not, be professional about it. Don't show yourself up and make yourself look like an idiot. You should pay more respect to Everton than that.
Hello, Rose. How are you doing, Joe?
Yeah, she's fabulous. She's welcome to come on the channel at any point she wants. She says St. Maximum in the deal for Gordon. I think Maximum, they don't like him because of his work rate and his defensive liability, but he always seems to turn up against us and make us into a right fool, doesn't he? He makes us look terrible.
He's a cracking player. He's a cracking player.
Every time we play against Traore and they run through us. Do
you think he's going? Do you think Gordon's going to Tottenham, or do you think he's going to Newcastle?
Newcastle.
I just read that Tottenham was in with it as well today.
Oh, Spurs can fuck off. I've had enough of them.
Yeah, I don't care. It's not here anymore.
Tottenham are absolutely pissing me off so much.
We're pushing though, ain't we? Like manager hasn't been confirmed yet, and the window we still need to get players as well. Obviously, it feels like we got Dan Juma. We announced Dan Juma on the frigging channel.
I've heard a shout, and this was a bit out of the blue, but like, if he goes to Tottenham, if we could just loan back Richarlison for the rest of the season, I'll take that.
Never going to happen, though, is it? Richarlison wants Europa Champions League and is in it. I want Richarlison back big time.
They just signed another guy, and if they sign Gordon as well, just say, right, you can sign Gordon, but we want Richarlison back till the end of the season. I like
that. Dan Juma's going to flop anyway.
Yeah.
He'll flop anyway. He won't play. He won't play, and Richarlison will play instead of him, and Dan Juma will just get sent to someone else and rejected and get loads of injuries. So I'm not that bothered.
Sean saying, why don't we sell Gordon and get Rondon, Jeg Tosin and Josh King as a front three? Rose is saying, "Where's the Bielsa face paint?"
But I heard if Bielsa comes in that Rafinha is part of the deal on loan from Barcelona. Rafinha on loan from Barcelona, and then we get Richarlison back, 2 Brazilians on each wing.
That is the one appeal of I think, like, if you were sort of tipping the fence on whether to say Dyche or Bielsa. Bielsa would probably have a little bit more appeal in, like, bringing in players, and he'll probably have a few. He'll have a few on standby who's got in the Rolodex who he might be able to persuade to come.
I feel that Dyche would just be like, I think he'd lick our board and our owner's arse a little bit, because he just wants the job, and he ain't to have big jobs, so he'd just be licking arse for the job. Where I think if Bielsa come in, he'd be like, I want this. I don't care who you are. I want this. I want these players. And I know for a fact if Bielsa come in, we'd be getting some fast attacking players. And that's what makes me want Bielsa a little bit, because if he did come in, he'd say, I need this, I need that. And you know, if Bielsa was given the green light, that part of his deal would be that we know for a fact in the next 2-3 days players are going to come in.
I think he'll have more, and I think the football would be a lot more attractive. I just think we'd get hammered in the games against, like, United, Liverpool. He wouldn't set us up. Whereas it's almost like I want Dyche for the big 6, and I want Bielsa in the home games against everyone else.
I'm the same. It's two very different options, and I don't know who. I don't like literally. Dyche I want to keep us up, but I don't really want him that much if he did keep us up. And then Bielsa I want for long term, because I honestly feel like Bielsa will eventually get a football team going, and I feel there's some success in him, even though he's still old, because he's got such a good footballing brain. He can freaking match it with Pep sometimes on the footballing brain. So it'll probably be one of them where we don't get him, we miss a trick. Freaking Spurs go and get Bielsa after this, and Spurs win the freaking league, the Champions League, and everything next season. That's what it'll probably happen. Sounds about right, doesn't it?
He'll bring entertainment, that's for a fact. You know, he'll definitely bring entertainment. After watching shite football for the last 2 years,
we get excited about anything. Carlo had a freaking drink on the sideline, and we were all putting videos on it, putting music on it, and everything. So if we got Bielsa crouching on his knees at that age, we'd be freaking all buzzing. We'd soon get behind him. That's why I thought he would be a good one, because I do feel he'd win the fans over.
You'll start selling it. I bet you would start selling Everton buckets.
That's what I mean.
For everyone to sit on. It's like,
Bielsa would excite me. I'd get behind him 100%, because if he did succeed, you know for a fact he's going to be good next season. He's going to bring some stuff to the table in pre-season.
We're going to have to back him, because the situation we're in, we can't afford disunity. We need to, whoever comes in, we need to back them 100%, because, you know, nobody wants relegation. I know I've talked about it in the channel. I'm not going to talk about it now, but, like, nobody wants that. We want to survive, because then, like, the stadium's coming. We don't want to spend the last year of the old lady in the Championship. Like, that's just such an ignominious way to bow out of Goodison Park in the Championship. It would be such a sad end for one of the greatest stadiums in the history of football, and the grand old lady doesn't deserve.
You don't want to put a black cloud over the opening of the grand old over the opening of the new stadium at the Dock. You don't want to put a black cloud over it.
It's more about, like, I don't want the end of Goodison, because Goodison Park has been our stadium for 150 years nearly. Like, it deserves a send-off, and it deserves, like, it deserves to spend, like, it doesn't.
You shouldn't be allowed to say. You shouldn't be allowed to say bye to it being so shit. It's disrespectful. Yeah. We've got to be good when we say bye to it. We've got to be a good team when we say bye to it. We can't say bye to it when we're shit. We've got to freaking stay up and say bye to it in the right way, because, like you said, it's got so much history, and it deserves that at least. We shouldn't be leaving being shit and being so freaking down and toxic. We need to leave the old lady being happy and think about her in a nice way, and then just go to the new stadium because we like it, but still say we're going to miss you, old lady, and stuff like that.
Very funny.
So here's a quick one, because I'm literally just
Go on.
just came into my head because I'm just literally by Carlisle, and we were talking about centre backs and pace and stuff like that. Would you bring Branthwaite back?
No.
If Bielsa comes in?
No.
Because he's very quick and he's big and powerful.
Kadim's asking about Dominic Tedesco at Leipzig, Jeff.
I thought he said he's gone to Tesco. I've never even heard of Dominic Tedesco. Is that a manager abroad?
That's Calvert-Lewin's off. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is signed to Tesco.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been signed by Tesco.
To Tesco.
Tesco City.
Tesco.
Is that a manager or a player?
Tedesco's a manager.
Dominic's off to Tesco.
People are always learning me about these new managers. I seem to stick to the Premiership, and
Dan,
I don't
think to Ralph
do
Glitter.
much more. What's that?
The rumours about Ralph Glitter.
Ralph Twitter.
Yeah, Ralph Glitter.
No,
a long-lost cousin of Rolf Harris and Gary Glitter. Ralph Glitter.
I've seen we've been linked to David Hasselhoff as well. I'm glad that one's over.
Hasenhutel.
I thought his name was David Hasselhoff from Southampton.
Joel fine for drink driving.
Jolie, yeah, he got a fine and he's not allowed to drive for how long? And he got a yellow card as well.
Blue Nose Kate, one of our regulars, is saying, Jeff, put your lights on. Are you driving through David B? And Nikki's clarifying, saying Jeff's driving. That's why you weren't meant to have your camera on, because I knew this would happen. They'd be wondering.
Jeff's driving lorries. We're literally is radio station now. Everton, follow Everton live radio station. Tune in. We have a song coming up. Bielsa is the new Everton manager.
I think we need a Bill impression.
I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Bill Kenwright. I don't want to talk about Moshiri. I don't want to talk about Kia, frigging the idiot on TalkSport. I used to have a Kia as a car, actually. I don't want to talk about Kia. I don't want to talk about Carragher. I don't want to talk about any of those crap. I just want a new manager ASAP, because I know we're not going to sign any players until we get a manager. And we still got like 3-4 players to sign, Ryan. And this is going to be frigging tight to get these players. Because I was thinking to myself, like, the problem is we can sign the players quick, but will the other teams that we want them off let them go when it's coming to the end of the window? It's going to be like they'll want to replace the players we get.
Yeah.
So we need to. I hope we've got stuff in place very quick, and we've got the players lined up. It does look like when I read up this. The first thing I do, I wake up early in the morning. Don't know why I check the news early in the morning, but I check the Everton news, what the papers say, and the links to the ex-West Ham striker is massive now, isn't it? Arnautovic, is it, or something like that?
Oh, Arnautovic.
Yeah, the links on that this morning was massive, so I think that's done. That's going to be done, isn't it?
I'd have Arnautovic. There was someone who said before about Dembele, sell Gordon and get Kudus for 25 million, Arnautovic for a nominal fee, and Dembele, who's out of contract in the summer. And there's 3 players that improve us massively.
I'd play Arnautovic, Calvert-Lewin, and Mopé up front as a free.
If you signed Dembele?
Just go for it. I don't think Dembele is going to happen. It's gone quiet, hasn't it? That Arnautovic, if we get him, we're not going to get Dembele, are we? It's going to be one or the other.
Someone's asking about Jack Harrison. Leeds are not going to sell Jack Harrison. Yeah.
No, they're definitely not.
As well, apparently.
Especially not when they're in a relegation battle with us.
Who's this now? Tell me what this is. Someone's just said, what does Dan think on this? You're going to have to explain it to me, because I always openly admit I have not got the knowledge that some have. I like me football, I know me football, but who was that he said, Ryan?
Who?
It's gone.
I can't see the screen, so you'll have to tell me what it was.
I did chuck it on. I don't know. He said, what does Dan think of a certain player? But
Bielsa's done deal apparently to Travi, saying he wouldn't come from Brazil unless it was a done deal. And Livenut saying, what about Ralph Hazelnut?
Ralph Hazelnut.
Everyone's kicking off about Danjuma, getting asked about Rooney. I don't see that happening, I'll be honest with
He's
you.
an idiot, he is. I accidentally, because I tried to dodge it, but I watched it. I accidentally watched his talk for frigging Spurs, and he's an idiot. He is an idiot. An absolute idiot.
We've got Arsenal in this space.
He just goes, Spurs have got good facilities, they've got this, they've got that, they've got that. What an idiot. What a two-faced person. I'm happy we didn't get him in the end. Didn't want him anyway. Just don't look at the Danjuma video of me saying he's absolutely amazing, but I didn't want him anyway.
So the thing is, now I've been hearing stuff like we've got 15 million available to spend, and then if we get sort of 25, 30, yeah, that gives us sort of 50 million. And like if we could do sort of the smart deals that we've done before, we can easily bring 3 or 4 players in the last couple of days to support the new manager. But like this is going to be a hectic few days. I'm really glad we don't have a game actually. Because like actually having a game in the middle of all this would just stress me out so much. So like
I'm just massively hoping that they are working on players as well as manager. It would be stupid. It would be stupid not to be, but we have got a stupid board, and I know they'll be putting a lot of focus into getting the right manager because that's the biggest thing. But the players are as important as the manager.
It's like if you're a player sitting there looking for a move, like you're sitting there thinking,
no, I need to put a stop on this. I need to put a stop. Let me just no, we're not selling Onana. He's one of our best players, and you probably just want him.
No, he did a public statement today where he said that he doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay for the fight. So but anyway, what I was saying there was the thing is like when we're looking at signing players, like there's some players who would want to come and play for Sean Dyche. There's some players who are going to want to play for BIELSA. But like they're not going to want to come and sign until the decision is made. So we can't sign anyone until we confirm the manager because they're different styles of people, different styles of play. So you can't sign anyone until you've confirmed the manager. So we literally need to get this done like tomorrow. It needs to be announced. It's a done deal.
It will be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it's going to be like it'll be the weekend. But I'd like the weekend to have the weekend to get transfers done. So if we can get the manager announced tomorrow, well, some people that I know on Twitter that do know bits and bobs, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They have said that Dyche is done and it's going to get announced tomorrow, and they said the sources are 100%. And Dyche is a done deal, and he's going to get announced tomorrow. It's just getting finalised, but he's got it. And Dyche has got it. So, but like I say, that's just what they've said. But they've said it's very reliable.
The same guy said Mark Hughes had come for an interview and he fell for it.
No, it's just he was having a joke there.
That was Jack having a laugh, but yeah, he was just.
If you know Jack, you know he's joking there. He was just joking about. He likes to put a twist in things, but no, generally the Dyche thing. I think that was a serious thing because I don't think the person that said it would want to make themselves look like the chat shit. I know what they're like, so I think it could be. If it comes out tomorrow, it could be right, but we'll see. Go on.
I think they're dragging both of them along and stringing both Dyche and Bielsa along. They've done this with other managers before where they've had them all thinking they've got the job and then they'll bin one off last minute. I wouldn't be surprised whether they both at this stage think they're getting the job. Just very quickly to let you know, we are wrapping things up in a moment. But there's news regarding Anthony Gordon. Everton are being forced to lower their asking price for Gordon because he is now refusing to train with the club. That is disgusting. The fact that you can take back on Everton.
This is pure Ross Barkley. This is, you know.
It's Ross Barkley Mark too, isn't it? Yeah.
It's right. Ross Barkley. Do you know we didn't get a we didn't get the best out of the deal because Ross Barkley was a little brat and he wanted to go, and he completely conned us. Like
Gordon's got 2.5 years left on his contract, so
Yeah, so Gordon could have just let it be in our hands. Let us do the deal for him. If you want to go, fair enough. Just say that to Everton. We'll get the deal done. But don't be a spoilt little brat on show and make things look like we have to sell you, because that's when we can't get the best deal out of it, because we want a good deal out of it.
The least he should be doing is trying to get some money for Everton if he's leaving.
Exactly. That's respect. He should be doing that because Ryan, they said on TalkSport, and it's true, he ain't been doing that good for us, but he is a good player. He's a young English player. He will be good in the future. He thinks he's bigger than what he is, I'll tell you that for sure. But he will be a good player. And with the way the market is nowadays, you look at the price of players, he's definitely worth 35 million plus. But with the way he's being like a little brat, he might lose us a bit of money. I don't know. I don't want him to do that, though, because we need every frigging bit of money to put into other players.
Yeah.
I'm just going to mention it one more time. We're doing a GoFundMe for Jan's dad. His dad come on the channel. He was a member of the channel, and we lost him, heart attack out of the blue. So if you can go and fight, if you can go on the link and you can drop anything, a £5 or a £10. It's hard times. If you can't, don't worry about it. But if you can, and you're in a money situation where you can drop. I understand people probably don't get paid tomorrow and onwards, but if you can put some money in to the GoFundMe and try and get it, it's 3,600 plus already. If we can get it to the 5K, Jan can grieve about his dad without stressing about the funeral. And people keep donating big chunks. Someone just did 40 now while we're on the channel. If we can get that to 5K, then Jan could just grieve about his dad. And we feel like we've done our part as well, because it's amazing if all of us, people in the comments, people on our Twitter feeds and stuff, have all paid for the funeral. That's proper Evertonians coming together. And even people from other teams have donated as well. So thanks for that.
Brilliant.
Keep it going.
The chat, and we're giving a lot of time as well to raise awareness for it. And I think if you just like us as a channel and you want to say thanks, we never ask for any donations or anything for the channel. We don't make any money. We make a loss. So if you want to help,
you do.
This is the best way to do it. Help Gandalf, our guy, the Everton Viking, our fabulous friend and poet, with help pay for the loss for his father's funeral fund. You can do that for us. Links in the description. Yeah. From myself, Dan, and from Jeff, would like to wish you the very best. Have a great evening, and we'll be back.
We'll be back with a manager tomorrow.
In about 1 hour on Twitter Spaces.
Probably, with the way it's going.
Nice one. Thanks for keeping us company.
Bye.
Nice one. See you later. Cheers.
See you later, Jeff.